Hey Stansell team, welcome to the next episode of the Stansell Blueprint. I am joined today by three very important guys. We're going to be talking about operations and all the things that you need to know, and to visually show you how close and connected they are as a team. I've put them on a couch together in the podcast studio. So, welcome to the podcast, Neil, Jim, and Andy.
Thank you.
Excited to have you guys. So, if you don't mind, let's just start by each of you just sharing your role, your responsibilities. Now that there's been some switch ups here, and just how that impacts Stansell. So, Neil, I want to start with you.
Okay, so thanks for having me.
Of course.
Uh,
Welcome back, by the way.
no problem. Had a good week off. It was good to get away, but great to be back.
Yeah.
So, as the VP of Ops, my role is primarily the processes that happen in the field, whether it's the scheduling of the superintendents or the actual developing of the superintendents through the area supervisors. I have a team of about 70 guys that work for me, and my role is to help them do what they do well in the field.
Andy, let's hop to you.
Okay, Chief Operating Officer as of a couple months now, or a month. Oh, geez. So my primary responsibility is supporting the whole operations team, all the way from project coordinators through area supervisors, superintendents, warranty team, safety team, and the project management team. My goal is to eliminate as many barriers for the team members as possible, to where it can give them the ability to be effective in their role and take some of that burden of the stress off of them. But ultimately, we worked closely together, myself and Neil, supporting the operations team across the board.
Perfect.
Beautiful. So, in my role as president, but still remaining as a partner with John and Angelica, the partnership role remains the same, but really through the president is to support these two guys and what they're doing primarily with the operations. But I do have a strong seat at the table to support the entire organization from a strategy perspective. So, as we grow with clients, work closely with John and Angelica and considering those, the geographies that we're considering, and then also the technology, the processes layered behind all of that from an overarching strategy side of that. The day-to-day operations are managed by these two gentlemen mostly, and I just support what they need and try to listen to what's going on out in the field so that organizationally we can adapt to what needs we need to move to or consider changes we need to make.
Jim, let's stick with you. Let's dive into just like what operations is at Stansell and how does that really impact the success of the business?
So yeah, four buckets that since I've joined Stansell, four buckets that I speak to when I'm out in the field. It is number one, obviously, honestly, for all of the organization. Number one is safety, and then quality and schedule come in, and then also connecting what connects the entire organization is profitability. So we are a business, right? So we all come here to provide for our families, and to be able to provide for our families, the organization has to be able to provide. So those four buckets, really, safety, quality, schedule, and profitability, are the overarching buckets of what ops means to me, and paying attention to all of those things, the processes that drive them, and yeah.
Neil, let's go to you. So, one of our themes this year is execution with urgency. What does that really mean with operations, and how do we keep that mindset without sacrificing quality and safety?
So, execution with urgency is often misconstrued to be just about speed, just about getting it done with a sense of urgency. But I think it's more complicated than that. I think it's more nuanced than that. Urgency, I think, ties back to what we've been talking about for a couple of years now, which is gas, which is having the right sense of this matters. This needs to be done a certain way. This needs to be represented of how Stansell focuses on the customer. Operations needs to be tied to not just doing it fast because we are a company that builds restaurants, but it needs to be framed up around it matters to the customer that it's done with a sense of urgency, that you show that you care, that you get the project done on time, that the people involved are committed to communication and excellence. And the four buckets that Jim talked about tie all into that. But when I think of execution with urgency, I think about gas. I think about making sure that it's done right with a sense of commitment to urgency, not just a sense of commitment to speed.
Absolutely. Jim, let's hop over to you. When you're looking at a project, what are the key performance indicators that really you're looking at and show that it's running successfully?
So yeah, using the four buckets again, and I didn't mention it earlier, but really all of it ties to customer focused construction. Really, that's the highest part. But the buckets laid underneath that. Safety, I come up is a job safe? I don't know if there aren't stats or anything really for that other than days without an accident probably.
Mm.
But do we have safety stations up? Do we have PPE on? Those types of things there. And then from a quality perspective is punch list. What does your punch list look like? From a process perspective that I spoke of earlier, our pre-punches getting done, by our area supervisors. Are they supporting the superintendents with pre-punches? But then superintendents, are you running a punch list every single morning to make sure that that pre-punch is clean and then that we have zero punch lists? We have several superintendents out there, super cool. They're getting their hard hats loaded up with those zero punch list stickers. So that's the quality side of that. Schedule is just that. Did you hit the schedule on time? Are you using the processes behind that too? Are you using the 3-week look ahead? Are you looking at the overall schedule to be able to deliver on that? So the KPI for schedule is how many days over, how many days short were you able to deliver that? And then profitability is just that profitability. How profitable was the job?
Mm.
So.
Andy, from your perspective, what are the most common breakdowns you see in operations?
Yeah, when I think about the most common breakdowns, it's really two, and we talk about one a lot. I don't think we talk about the other enough. Is poor communication. Poor communication between project manager and super and subs, trade partners and PMs, us and our PMs, us and our trade partners and our superintendents. So just across the board, the circle of communication. I think that's to where at times we hold information back versus being more transparent about it. And one thing that I'd like to see us foster is a culture of bad news travels quickly. I think a lot of times bad news comes up. Inevitably, something's going to happen. And I think a lot of us, and I've been guilty of it myself, is we want to try to solve the issue before we communicate it. But I think a lot of times, if people would to be more open to communicating the bad news quickly, more people can support. Can we rally? Can we support? Because you don't have to be out on that limb to fix everything yourself. Do we want you to come to the table with solutions? Absolutely. But we're also the type of business that we don't say we're not willing to roll up our sleeves and get in there and help you. So I wish we would see better communication, and it really goes along the line of bad news travels quickly. Good news here travels very fast.
Mm-hmm.
I wish the bad news would travel as quickly as well. That way we can sort of triage it and take care of it quicker.
Absolutely.
And then the second thing, and you'll hear me continue to say this, people are probably going to roll their eyes, schedule drift. When we see schedules drift, they create delays. Delays create impact. Impact creates challenges for everyone, not just us, but also our customer. End of the day, when we talk about execution with urgency, when we have delays like that, that flies in the face of execution with urgency. So I think as we work, utilizing through the look aheads, and again, if the communication is strong between PMs and area supervisors and superintendents and trade partners, a lot of those scheduled shifts or delays can be avoided. We may have to move something around, but you can typically avoid a lot of those delays if you're having good communication across the projects.
Great. This goes perfectly into the next section. Jim, what does strong collaboration and communication look like between field office and leadership? And then also, how does technology play a part in that?
So I mean, strong collaboration. What does it look like? Is we're meeting the KPIs that we spoke of earlier are met.
Mm.
So projects are being delivered on time. The profitability as well. The jobs are ran safely, and we have a happy customer. Who's writing good reviews about us, and more importantly, requesting us to do more work, and even more excitedly, in my opinion, is asking for a specific team to serve them. So I think that is the strong indicator of a job running very well.
Yeah. Andy, your perspective, you were on the client side before coming to Stansell. From your experience, what are some key things that our team, whether they're in the field or in the office, should always be mindful of that directly impact the client experience?
Yeah, like I said, people are going to roll their eyes, but schedule. It's schedule, schedule, schedule. From the
Mhm.
customer side, a lot of resources, a lot of planning going to play when they start talking about a turnover date and then ultimately an opening date. Some of our customers have longer time frames between, some don't. Some have 2 to 3 days from turnover to open. And what I think people tend to forget is there's a lot of people coming in to support that business. So, there's been times where you're in the field and you hear, well, Andy, it's just one day. One day to us may seem minimal, but to a customer, that one day is pretty impactful. I think is it, it's perceived that we just don't understand the business. And in fact, we do, But again, we're dealing with what we're dealing with within, a 200-day construction project or duration. One day doesn't seem significant. It's less than, X percent. But to that customer, that one day is a day of sales, a day of generating revenue that ultimately creates profit for them and helps pay for the project. So, for me, it's that schedule, 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 and then quality. Oftentimes we get and put into hurrying up, right? Got to hurry up to catch up, and then we lose track of a little bit of that quality side. When you turn over a project to a customer, showing them that you took the care to take and really clean the store well, the project well, making sure that, hey, if there's a piece of tile that's out, that we make sure it's done and it's clean. Like when the customer walks up and sees the exterior of the project, that's their first interaction with that new brand, that new brand's store on grand opening day. And you hear the saying often, first impressions last for a long time. Making sure that first impression for the customer is strong.
Yeah. Plug for clean job sites too. When they come on the site for the first time, it shows that
Yeah.
we're better stuff together for sure.
If I could hook onto that, the beauty of commercial construction is it's all of our decisions and our customers' decisions really are financially driven. So I'll tell you, I had a stint paying my way through college. I was building homes. And a lot of those decisions in building homes are tied to emotions. They're trying to create this environment for their family, for memories and such. The first connection emotionally actually happens for our customer, where they're trying to create an emotional connection with their customer. The environment that they provide, the users of their business are coming in for an experience with their families. But we need to recognize that. But really, everything that we do has a financial charge to it. There's very little emotion. I do love the concept of emotional intelligence, because when we pull that into what we're doing, we're like, just back up. There are facts behind this, and there's a business reason for all of that we do. And so much of it is financially driven, to what Andy was just talking about, got down to the finances of the business that we're building. But I think it even goes beyond that. It goes to the people that are working there, that are counting on those hours to then have their job to go do what they do for their families in the city that we're building on. So it connects through the community in a million different ways. So.
Absolutely. Cool. Thanks for adding that. Neil, what we do is incredibly fast and sometimes things go wrong. How would you say, what advice would you give, how to handle mistakes or miscommunication in a healthy way? And what would you say is the best way for team members to speak up?
Yeah, so I think it ties back to some of the things that Andy was saying about communication being one of the big areas where we have issues. And I think I learned a lesson when I was a kid about communicating in advance of the problem becoming bigger than it needs to be. I had a buddy of mine that was in a small fender bender car accident. Teenage kids have that happen all the time. And he tried to make sure his parents didn't find out about it. Well, of course they did. And he got in major trouble. And then a couple of weeks later, same thing happened to me. I called my parents and said, just want to let you know, I'm fine. Had a small fender bender. Everything's okay. When we got home, they looked at it, they said, yep, we can fix that, no big deal. And it was over because I communicated. Now, as a teenager, learning that lesson and using that to what we do now, the same thing applies. If you've got an issue where you can't figure out what's on the drawings, or you need an RFI, or if there's something that you think might happen, like your phone going off.
Your phone going off. Silly me.
So
Sorry
write it
about
back. So using that information in the jobs today, what you want to think about is that communicating in advance can prevent the issue from being bigger than it needs to be. And to your point about speed, sometimes we don't have time to wait for an RFI. Sometimes we think we need an answer right now. That's why we use the resources of the team, the coordinators, the area supervisor, the project manager. Talk it out. If that doesn't give you an answer, the people on this couch can help you out. Solve the problem with communication, get an answer, prevent the mistake from happening by communicating, and then the likelihood is that it'll be less of an issue and we can move on and stay up with that speed. But just trying to buzz past it and cover up the wall before we get it inspected, hoping that nobody notices, is never the right way to handle anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Andy, going over to you, are there processes or tools that we are underutilizing that could make our jobs easier or more efficient?
Yeah, I believe we've got the right tools. Are we underutilizing them? Potentially. I think of Procore as an example. Procore is an extremely robust tool, as we all know. And what I'm happy to see is that we're expanding the use of Procore from the project management side. we're starting to look at that, using it as for our estimating and our bidding and our profit tracking. That is a huge opportunity for us to be able to see and track those costs, those projects much better than we have in the past, have much more real-time data. So obviously, as leadership is making decisions, looking at different things, we have that information readily available. So I do think that we have the right tools. I do think, again, Procore has been a journey for us, right? Procore is not a tool that you open up today and you start using every button in there. You have to learn it. You have to get used to it, and we're getting there. So what Anthony's been doing with expanding the estimating and bidding side and project or cost tracking through it, I think it's going to be a huge benefit to us, to the project managers, to everyone on the team, to be able to produce even better projects than we have. And then, I'm really happy to see what we've done with 3-week look aheads. To me, again, coming from the customer side, first thing I used to always look for, I wanted to see what your 3-week look ahead was. I didn't want to see the job site. I didn't want to walk this. I wanted to walk in. Let's look at your 3-week look ahead, and then let me walk your site to see if it matches up. So I'm really happy to see what we've been able to do with getting more consistently using it. Because again, I think that for us, it's the consistency of use versus underutilizing. I think it's just a matter of people continuing to use it, continuing to learn from it, continue to make them better.
Yeah.
Often we see projects that don't have a 3-week look ahead up, and it's 2 weeks out, and someone's like, well, I'm 2 weeks within finishing. Okay, well, then put 2 weeks on the 3 week. It doesn't have to be 3 weeks. If it's 1 week, put 1 week if you're finishing the job, because it just keeps everyone on track. And to me, what helps is it keeps the accountability on our trade partners, because if they see we're tracking that, they know we're going to be coming to talk to them if we start missing some dates. So again, I think Procore, just expanding upon the use of that, and then obviously being more consistent with the 3-week look aheads.
That's great. Good answer. Good answer. All right, let's talk about what's next. Jim, I'm going to go to you because you've been working on some exciting things with STEP. So can you share a little bit about that and what's coming up?
Yes, the Stansell Training and Enrichment Program. So it really is. It's a process, or it's an overall strategy in our organization about keeping Stansell the most relevant organization in construction. So we have a lot of different technologies. We talk about Procore and then so many other things that we do. But we made an investment in creating a web-based portal for Stansell. And we called it STEP, but again, STEP is a whole idea, it's a whole strategy. That got launched to the entire organization. The Stansell Way was the biggest investment that we started with. But what I'm excited about is we're moving it to what it was visionary for. And that is to be not only to bring people on in the most efficient way, to orient them, to introduce them to Stansell, but also for those of us that have been around for a long time in this world of change, that we stay relevant to what's going on. So we have the governance committee that was just launched. You guys saw the emails came out for that. We have representation from all roles in our organization, and those teams are going to start meeting. We're going to start on a monthly basis, and the goal is to try to find out, what do you want to know? What do you want to learn about your job? And then also in the background, what we're creating is the next phase of STEP. And that is, again, I shared just a second ago that the first 9 modules are the Stansell Way. But what we're adding to now is the do your job part. We're calling it the execution with urgency, do your job. The first modules are about, where did Stansell start? Where did it come from? It's about our culture. It speaks to some of the 4 pillars, which we are elaborating on that too. So we're continuing the journey to keep that relevant. But we're really focusing a lot on the execution with urgency and do your job. And so that people can come in and even if you've been here for a minute and you get stuck for a second on how do I do something, here's a resource I can go to. Is it going to tell you every little nook and cranny? Are we trying to create a checklist like you're going to the DMV? Absolutely not. But we are trying to create some memory muscle triggers.
Yeah, super exciting stuff.
Yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
I'm excited about it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the training and development has been a passion for mine even before joining this. I like the idea of developing people. I kind of like staying young myself and relevant in the business. It's one of the scariest things when you become irrelevant. What are you going to do next? So it's a journey for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Sticking on development, Neil, I mean, you mentioned you have 70 superintendents, and Andy, you talked about all the people that are underneath you on the operations side. Operations is like the vast majority of our business. So when you think about that and you think about all the people and their interest in growing and developing, what advice would you give them if they want to grow?
It's a great question. I've learned over the years that people often think that if they do a good job, they'll get noticed. And they will get recognized, but they might not get noticed. And that's in the vein of promotability or growth. If you're looking to do more, let somebody know, whether it's a mentor, a boss, a coworker. In the field, it would be an area supervisor. And the key to that is to say, I'm interested in growth. What do you think I need to do to get there? And start working on it. The easiest way to get the next job is to act like you're already in that job. If you want to be an area supervisor, demonstrate you can teach, demonstrate you can build a project with a zero punch, demonstrate you can work great with a client, demonstrate that you can handle subcontractor, trade partner relationships, demonstrate you set the example with safety. When you're acting like an area supervisor, you'll be considered for area supervisor. If you want to be a project manager, can you demonstrate that you can show how to manage the intricacies of all of the aspects of a client want, of all of the municipality wants, of all of the team member wants, all of the things that come with managing a project? If you have that kind of a skill set, demonstrate it. But my point is get noticed. And if you're not getting noticed, tell someone so that we can help you with that journey.
Absolutely. Great advice. Thank you. All right, let's move into some rapid fire questions. The challenge is to answer these within like 1 to 2 sentences. I won't hold you to it, but that's the challenge. So whoever wants to take this one first, what is one thing you wish every Stansell team member knew about operations?
There's a lot of work that goes into every single project, from the point that we receive a bid invite to the point that we turn the keys over. The amount of people that touch that project, from PCs to PMs to superintendents to area supervisors, and a lot of times, a lot of that work means that we don't necessarily get the job. So even though we're only doing X number of projects, it really is X number of times that we've tried to go and win. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of resources.
We've done it 1,000 times already. So if there's a question that you have as an individual, just ask.
I think an adage is that people eat with their eyes. We build restaurants. We want the place to look good. When you go to a high-end steakhouse, one of the reasons the food tastes good is because of the quality of food, but it's also because of the look of the building and the atmosphere. Just because we're building a fast food restaurant most of the time doesn't mean it can't look great and be appealing to the eye. Stansell quality should sell the food.
I love that. You write that down somewhere? All right, next one. If you had a magic wand, what is one thing you'd want every superintendent doing consistently?
Follow our processes. You know, there are some, we don't tell you to the T how to do it, but we do have a pretty standard. The standard is the standard of what the expectation is. So deliver on the standard.
Communicate. You're out in the field, sometimes 3,000 miles away. Stuff happens in the now, but everybody needs to know about it. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Don't be afraid to send more pictures than are needed. Let everybody know what's going on. That'll help you.
Be consistent, to Jim's point. Follow the processes, 3-week look aheads, ADA. Just be consistent and follow the process.
What is the best way for project managers to positively impact the field?
Pre-construction meetings.
Just kidding.
No, it is.
Get-
We joke, but
Get those done
it
right.
is. It's ensuring that the trade partners, that the project managers going out and signing up to do the work have solid works, has had solid work, scope of work documents, right? They know what they need to do. Make sure that all the scope of work is covered. Don't leave it up to the field to figure out, oh, we don't have someone to do this. And then to Jim's point, do a solid pre-con. Like if you do a solid pre-con, even a tough project, and you make sure that the scope of work documents are covered and the trade partners know what they need to do, and we've got the right people on the job site to get the job done, it gives that superintendent the ability to be successful. And so for me, it is the pre-con side of it.
Absolutely.
No question, it's the pre-con. Job starts well, it runs well.
We're getting all of Neil's one-liners today printed on pieces of paper to put on the job sites.
I like it.
All right, last one. What is one piece of advice you would give to our ops team? All 120 of them.
The beauty of working at Stansell, and look, I've interviewed, vast majority of the people that have been here or been associated with it. And one of the things that I frequently hear is people are coming from an organization or coming from situations where they feel like I do a lot of this myself. At Stansell, you're not. You know, you're on a team, be part of the team. Know your job, do your job, but help others with their job as well, and know that you may need help on your side as well, and welcome that feedback. You know, welcome those innocent moments of needing some help. But be a teammate. That is it. Be a teammate.
Absolutely.
You know, it's every time every one of us interacts with a customer, it's Stansell interacting with that customer. It's not Andy, it's not Jim, it's not Neil. It's Stansell interacting with the customer. We all have that ability to impact our customers over in a positive way or in a negative way. So remembering that every time you have a conversation with a customer, that's an impact point for them. That either means that they're going to want to come work with us more or come work with us less. So remembering that. And then to the team point, you know, I've always had the saying with teams that I've worked on is, regardless of what role we're in, we're one team. To me, and I think the three of us, titles have never really meant anything. It's just we're one team here to try to accomplish a goal. And that goal is to produce a very great quality project for a customer while we're executing for urgency while making a profit. And I don't think that's too hard to do.
Good answer.
I think the thing that I would tell the superintendents and the area supervisors, the ones grinding it out in the field, is that you're not alone. This is a tough job. Building stuff is hard. Working at the speed we work at is even harder. Some of our clients are very demanding, but they are not alone. If they're having a tough day, whether at the job or at home, we have a network, we have a team, we have people that are there to listen. People do care. Don't be afraid to ask questions if you don't know. Don't be afraid to reach out if you're having a tough day. Don't be afraid to talk to one of us. If you need support on an issue, if you need to work through something, we do that all the time. Just make sure that you just don't let it fester and that doesn't build up. We don't want you to feel alone. My advice to the people in the field is you're not separate from the office. You're at least a phone call is all you need. Just call us. We are here for you.
Yeah,
That's my advice.
absolutely. Thank you guys, all of you. For everyone listening and say they needed to get in touch with you for whatever reason, what would each of you say your best communication, I don't know, what's the word? Platform?
Text me.
Text.
Call or text.
Call or text.
Whatever works best for you. I'm slow to reply to the Microsoft Teams chat, but otherwise I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
Teams is an ongoing journey.
just a chat function of
Okay,
that.
okay. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope this is very impactful for the team. I think it will be, kind of picking your brains a little bit and getting to know you guys deeper. So thanks everyone for tuning in today. This was Ops 101. If you want to see anybody back on the podcast, just let me know. And have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.